afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Floatfish Farm, and today it's 2nd of April, so it's Good Friday, and I am on Sand Lake for the next 48 hours. It's the first session back since night fishing was allowed again, and this is my chosen swim. So I'm in peg 2 on sand. It's a peg I've fished a few times previously, and it's sort of become one of my favourite swims because basically it gives me loads of options. So you can see I've got all the margin water there, loads of sort of overhanging trees and reeds to fish to. I've got the little channel behind the island, or to the left of the island itself, and then obviously open water. So I'm just gonna literally just arrived, so I'm just gonna pop to the shop quickly, grab a couple of bits from there, then get the gear unloaded and get fishing. Right, what I'm going to do, I've chopped up some of the krill boilies, so I've got chunks and bits of powder and what have you in there. And what I'm just going to do is spod some of these out. I've got some of the krill glug and some of the pure colourless liquid, so I'm going to put a little bit of each in this, and then we'll get that cast out. And what we should end up with once that hits the water and spreads down through the water column is a lovely bit of attractant in the water. Alright, so as you can see, I've got both of the rods out. The right hand rod is just in that shadow off the edge of the island there, so it's literally tight up to the island. And what I've done is I've put maybe half a dozen spods over the top of it with the sort of crushed up boilies and some of the liquids in there, and then the left hand rod walked round basically where that tree is, and was able to just throw probably 30 or 40 boilies just in and around that area, some that were chopped in half, some whole boilies, and then I've just put my rig basically right on top of that. So that's the 2 spots for now. I've been keeping an eye on the water. I haven't seen anything showing or anything obvious as yet, so I've had to just kind of pick a couple of spots that I know have worked well for me in the past, get the baits on those, and we'll see what happens. See if anything does start showing anywhere else, we could potentially change things, but for now the rods are out. I've done a bit of spotting of some freebies in the area, say a few handfuls of freebies on the tree spot. I'm going to get the rest of the gear unpacked, get the bivvy up, see how things go this afternoon. Right, it's just gone about 3:30. Everything's set up, and so my rods are out, bivvy's all ready to go. I've just moved. I was basically sat down by the rods there, but I've got this wind coming in from the north, and although when I'm sat here it's quite comfortable, the moment you're in that wind it's only about 7-8 degrees anyway, maybe 9 degrees, and obviously once that wind chill hits you it does get pretty nippy pretty quickly. So I've just moved up out of the wind, but as you can see I've got the wind coming basically over from the north there down into this bottom corner. So I think it's supposed to be like this for the next couple of days. Gets a bit blowier still I think tomorrow. I think it's sort of 15-20 mile an hour winds at times tomorrow, so I certainly want to be out of it then, because although it's the 2nd of April and we had 23-24 degrees 3 or 4 days ago, the wind direction's completely changed now, coming in from the north again, and we're getting that last bit of Arctic air before spring kicks in properly. So we'll see. We'll keep, as I say, it's only a couple of hours in, but everything's set up. I've had a bit of late lunch, and just going to sit and watch the rods, watch the water, see how we get on. Right, so I've just had a recast of both rods, both back out on the same sorts of spots again. So the right hand rod is off by the island there. I actually went over to the guy who's in peg 3, was talking to him, and can see that actually there's a bit of a calm area right up near to the reeds, obviously where it's out of the wind. So I've just tried to, or basically just recast onto that area, and with the left hand rod I've been having issues obviously trying to get really close up to that tree because of the crosswind. So what I've done is I've actually ended up casting close to those reeds, just because every time I was casting to the tree I kept either clipping the branches as it was coming down, or it wasn't having any effect from the wind at all and it was going straight out towards that tree there. So what I've done is I've basically cast out towards those reeds. If it does catch the wind a bit more, it will still bring me round onto the spot, but if not, I've just gone round and thrown a load of boilies, probably 4 or 5 handfuls of boilies, in and around sort of this spot there where the reeds are. So I've now got a nice sort of run basically from where that duck is over to the right hand side of those dead reeds, and the bait is cast out on the top of it. So I'm trying to film this out of the wind, because I have noticed that the camera is picking up, obviously, or the microphone on the camera is picking up a lot of wind noise. So hopefully I can keep out the wind a little bit more and get some better footage and some better sound for you guys. Right, so I just thought I'd show you a couple of the rigs that I'm actually using. So they're both IQD rigs, but what I've done is I've tied them slightly different, or with a slightly different hook pattern. So the standard one that I would normally cast out is the sort of curved shank, and you can see that has got a straight hook point. Something I've been sent by the guys at Carp online are these crank hooks, and if you look at the crank hook, it's actually got a beaked hook point. So you can see it actually bends round slightly, and if I can turn this over, so very easy to see, but you can also see that it's got a curved hook. So if the carp are trying to eject that, it's having to do it at 2 different angles, whereas the standard curved shank is a straight hook. It only has to sort of bend round at 1 angle for it to potentially eject the hook, whereas with these crank ones, it's actually having to eject it from 2 different angles. So I'm trialing these over the next month or so, next couple of months, see how I get on with them. But yeah, certainly like the look of that sort of aspect on it. So I'm just going to tie up the rigs. I'm going to stick on a Sticky Baits Mulbs wafter on one, and I'm going to put a krill wafter on the other, and see how we get on. Right, it's just coming up to 7 o'clock, so I'm getting a bit of dinner on. Got a chili con carne, and the rice will be going on shortly. But the guy in the next swim along, he's just had a 21-pound 6-ounce mirror out, fished off the island, and you can see from the ripples and what have you, it's the wind has dropped a bit. Still a shut up, noisy sods. There's still a bit of a breeze coming down in here, but I've finally actually seen something show in my swim. So I was just stepped out of the bivvy and had a look out into the middle, about there, and a carp, only a small one, probably 7 or 8 pounds, something like that, topped out. So we've at least got some kind of activity showing, other than all these sodding birds that just suddenly appeared, ducks and geese and coots and whatever else. But yeah, finally actually seeing a bit of carp activity, so hopefully we'll well, hopefully the rods will see a bit of activity as well. But so I'm going to grab a bit of dinner and then see how we go through the evening and overnight. Well, there we are, chili con carne. It's not exactly meal fit for a king, but I'm no king, and it beats a pot noodle any day. So I'll get this down me, and we'll keep watching the lake, see if anything shows. Alright, so I've just recast both rods, fresh bait on both. The right hand rod has gone really tight against the island, no more than a couple of feet off of those reeds, and the left hand rod back in the same spot under that tree there, pretty much where the duck is now. So really tight to that corner. I couldn't have hand placed that one better if I'd tried. I literally cast, and as it landed it sort of went underneath that overhanging branch. I've been round there and put some extra bait out right on that spot, and sort of just up and down the margin a little bit, right and left, so not too much, but just around that area, really sort of concentrated at where the rig is. And then likewise on the island I've been obviously sending out some spods, and I've got the rig right on top of it as well. and the ducks carefully coming to show me exactly where I put it, so just about there. So yeah, so really happy with where both of the rods are now, really tight to the spots that I wanted them to be in. The wind is still coming in here, but we'll see how we get on. I said I haven't seen any fish showing in my swim. I've been up since about 6 o'clock this morning watching the lake, not seen anything, didn't see hardly anything yesterday. A couple of other guys on the lake have had fish, so whether it's just they're not in my body of water, they're all out in the main part of the lake round the corner there, I don't know. But I'm in this swim, I can't move anywhere else. This is where I'm going to have to concentrate my efforts. So I've got my 2 spots, let's just hope they produce something. Right guys, it's just coming up to 3 o'clock, and as you can probably guess, not a whole lot is happening. I had a couple of beeps on the right hand rod, little tug, but that was it. Nothing further, so I left it for another 15-20 minutes, and then I've just recast it back out to the island again, but very little going on. I have got a much more obvious bit of slack water around the island now, where the wind is still obviously blowing in, but there is a bit more of a slack water there, so I'm making sure to keep one of the rods on that. But I don't know, right now it's just continuing as I was. I haven't seen any fish or any signs, so there's no point chasing them around too much because I've got nothing to chase. So I'll continue as is, and we'll see how we go through the afternoon. But the wind we have got feels a little bit warmer, so I'm hoping they might become a little bit more active, but we'll see. Right, it's just coming up to 6 o'clock. See, we've got a bit of sun finally. I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's at least a little bit warmer than it has been for the last 2 days. Still not seeing anything. Still, where I've got my rigs out on the spot. This is obviously the sort of time you would hope the fish would start to come on the feed over the next few hours. So I'm just going to leave the rods where they are, as I haven't seen anything to direct me anywhere else, so I'm not going to go chasing them. I've got spots that are baited up, I've got the rigs bang on the spots, so I think I've done realistically what I can do for now. If I was seeing fish or getting an idea that they were moving somewhere else in the swim, then I could go after them, but realistically I haven't seen anything, so I'm not going to go chasing them into other areas and leave spots that are already baited up. But hopefully we can get something. It's supposed to get quite cold again tonight, so we'll see how that affects things. The wind is also supposed to change, I think sort of very early morning, so that might make a change. That might potentially move the fish around a little bit, so we'll see how things go. It's obviously Easter Sunday tomorrow, so I'm going to be packing up fairly early in the morning and getting off home, so think this evening and tonight is the main chance, and then we'll see how things go early morning, but I suspect I'll probably be packed up and ready to go by 8:30, 9 o'clock sort of time. Right, it's just gone 7:30. Clearly still no fish, however I'm starting to see and hear quite a lot of fish topping out, splashing. Most of it sounds smallish, but I've seen a couple of larger splashes and whatever. Obviously trying to pinpoint it when the light is like this is difficult, but I'm filming the lake as well, just see if that picks up anything. Obviously I can't have all my eyes on everything, whereas at least with the camera I can go back and sort of review footage and see where they're jumping. But I've certainly been able to spot a few. I've had a couple of splashes down here, mostly small stuff, but a couple. One seemed a bit bigger. There's been, not that you can really see it, but there's one. Oh yes, you can see it. There was a couple of splashes over there. I've had one just to the left of the tree there, obviously my bait's on the right, and another larger ripple. It's actually out of, that's birds, actually out of my water. Basically where that goose is, it was beyond that, down in the channel, but again that was actually quite a sizable show. But the main thing is, it does mean I have actually got some activity at this end of the lake now, which is the first time, as I said, I've seen anything in the, whatever it is, 36, 37 hours, whatever it is that I've been here. So at least I'm seeing something, and give me a little bit of optimism for this evening and overnight. Doesn't guarantee anything obviously, but at least I'm seeing some fish in the area for once. And there we are, just as I say that, just beyond the goose, just showing off the edge of the island, and my bait obviously is just to the right there. So finally, on the approaching dusk of the last evening, but finally got something to get excited about. And there's another one. All of a sudden the lake's come alive. Have one. Literally within a few minutes of me saying that fish were starting to show, got a few beeps on the left hand rod. It wasn't exactly a screaming one, but it went. That's the main thing. It's a carp, and it's probably the smallest carp in the entire bloody lake, but it's a fish. It at least shows the rigs are working. It shows that the fish are starting to feed, and they are at least in the area. So we'll get this one back. It's ridiculous. It's probably only a couple of pounds, but it's a fish. So we'll stick him back, and we'll hopefully, that will be the start of something. We can get some on this over the next few hours, but let's go. This is what I've been greeted with on the final morning. Bearing in mind it's the 4th of April and we have got frost on the cars, frost on the bivvy, frost on the chair and everything else. It's we haven't had anything further overnight. Again, the fishing basically died overnight. I don't think I heard any alarms go off anywhere on the complex pretty much. You normally hear it from the lake on the back there, but I think this change in weather, obviously a massive drop in temperature over the last couple of days, and I think it's supposed to be minus 2 tonight. So yeah, I don't think the weather's helped. I've certainly learnt that location, if we didn't already know it, location is definitely key. I've unfortunately ended up in a swim that didn't have very much going on in it for certainly the first 35 hours, something like that. But typically today, the day we're going home, is the day the weather has, or the wind has changed direction, and although it's very cold right now, it's supposed to be about 15 degrees by lunchtime, 2 o'clock. So change of wind, which is now heading down the lake, might actually have brought a change in fishing. But today's the day we're packing up, so it is what it is. Right, well I did it, didn't I? I did my final closing speech and all that, and within 2 or 3 minutes, the rod's gone off. He's not the biggest, but he's certainly very, very welcome. I'm certainly not going to complain when it's freezing cold. So we have a 15-pound 3-ounce mirror. Can't even speak this morning, it's so bloody cold. It's certainly put me through it over the last 48 hours, but I'm going to get the rod back out and get this one returned because it is freezing. And we'll see if we can get another one out. But pretty made up with this one because I've had to really work for it. Right, so I've got the rod back out tight against the island again, same spot, following that fish. It was interesting, as quickly as I was trying to get my rods back out and on the spot again, my rig had frozen whilst out of the water. My line was all frosty. I've just gone to pick my net up to stick that to dry, and that's all bloody frozen again. So it's just coming up to about 7:30 now. The sun is out and it is actually pretty pleasant, but everything is still taking a while to defrost, so we'll keep going. I was planning to pack up a bit early, but as I've finally got the fish in my swim, I think I might be having a bit of a change of plan, and I'll probably head back a little bit later than originally planned. But I've waited 45 hours, 46 hours, so I'm not rushing off now. I've finally got something in the swim, so I'll certainly give it another couple of hours at least. I'm off to Vermoiden Lake in Fenland Fisheries at Erith in 2 weeks' time, so hopefully see me there as well, and try and get a few fish out of there. Right, I've just been having a look through my previous captures from this lake, because I thought I recognised that fish. Turns out I had it back in September 2018 at £14.9. So it's been 2.5 years since I've had the fish out, and it looks like it's only put on about ½ a pound in weight. So it was a nice long fish, but I think that black spot obviously was why it sort of triggered something in my memory that I've seen that fish before. So I had a look, and yeah, I've got exactly the same fish. So it's interesting to get a recapture, see sort of how much weight they've put on. I've had a couple of recaptures from this lake now, but there's an awful lot of fish out there as well that I haven't had yet. So nice though it is, sort of becoming reacquainted with some fish. It'd be quite nice to see some of the other ones, because there's a few big 20s and a couple of 30s swimming around in here that I'd quite like to have as well. So fingers crossed we can get some of those out at some point. Probably not today, but I'm not going to complain if I do, obviously. But no, it'd be nice to see some new fish coming out as well, some that I haven't had before. Right guys, that's it. Everything's packed away. Car's loaded and I'm ready to go. So thank you very much for watching. We finally got there in the end. We got a couple of fish out, despite a pretty difficult session, but enjoyable nonetheless. And the sun's come out. We've got bright blue skies for the first time in 2 days. But hope you enjoyed it, and see you again.